All right, so let's start off with that nominal scale. The nominal scale is your basic scale. It's literally the lowest level of measurement that you can call a measurement scale. And on the nominal scale, what you measure and all you can say is that the categories are different. So you can place people in different categories and that's it. There's no order to the categories. There's no value to the categories. It's just different categories. So for example, going back to our basketball players here, we can categorize these individuals as having different positions, right? We can categorize them as having different basketball positions. So Muggsy Bogues was a point guard. And LeBron James, I guess, was classified as a small forward. We got Shaquille O'Neal as a center. And actually, it's a little bit misleading to have them in this order here. So let me just reorganize that, and we'll put them in a stacked orientation. And the reason that it's misleading to have them in order is because there's no order to these, right? So we can definitely say, yeah, Muggsy Bogues played point guard. That was his position. And we can definitely say LeBron James, yeah, small forward. That was his position. And we can definitely say Shaquille O'Neal, yes, center. That was his position. But there's no order to this. We can't say that small forward is more basketball position than point guard, right? We can't say that center is less basketball position than point guard. We can't put them in an order of basketball positionness. It doesn't even make sense in the English language. So while we are able to measure position, and again, highly reliable, highly valid, it doesn't have this relationship because this does not have any order. So while we can categorize things, we can't put them in order. That is your basic scale. That's a nominal scale. So in a nominal scale, all you can say is that the categories are different. Some examples of nominal scales are things like gender differences. You can put people in a category of male. You can put people in the category of female. But you cannot say that one of these is more gender than the other. You can't say that being female is somehow more gender or genderousness than being male, right? You can't put them in any order. You can definitely classify individuals, but there's no order to it. Categories are different, but without being able to say any more, that is a nominal scale. Undergraduate majors. So if you're an education psychologist and you're wondering what are the undergraduate majors that are getting the highest enrollment, you can classify people in terms of their undergraduate major. We can take a look at everybody in this classroom and say psychology major, and we can take a look at other people and say anthropology major, mathematics major, physics major. We can do that, but we can't say, psychology pride aside, we can't say that one of these is more undergraduate major. We can't say that psychology is more undergraduate major. We can definitely say that there's more people in that category, but it's not like the category itself is somehow more major. And one of the things that we're going to see that we can do later that we can't do right here is you cannot take averages of a nominal scale. So we would be unable to analyze IUSB and say, all right, 1/3 of the students are psychology major, 1/3 of the students are anthropology majors, and 1/3 of the students are mathematics majors. Let's say that was the case. In this case, the average major, if we add up all the majors and we divide by 3, it's a psychotropolomathematics major, right? It makes no sense. There's no average major in the university. So that's because undergraduate majors are on a nominal scale. You can't take averages for a nominal scale. Other things on a nominal scale, types of restaurants. So you can go to an Italian restaurant. You can go to a Japanese restaurant. You can go to a diner. You can go to a fast food restaurant. You can classify different restaurants very simply and very straightforwardly, but none of them is more restaurant. None of them has a higher degree of restaurantiness, right? We can't measure that because it's on a nominal scale. And then the last one, genres of movies. You can have a horror movie, you can have a romantic comedy, you can have an action film, And despite what you might think of one of those genres, you cannot argue that one of them is less movie than the other. So for example, Martin Scorsese literally just came out and said that the MCU isn't real movie making, right? That what they're doing shouldn't count as being movies. Basically, he's saying, well, we can classify those as genres of movies, and in my opinion, they're less moviness than other movies, other real movies. And it makes no sense. You can classify them as different, but they're on a nominal scale. You can't put them on a scale of moviness. You can't say that, well, the dramatic period piece, that is more moviness than the MCU. And the MCU has more moviness than, say, a documentary. A documentary has more moviness than, I don't know, something else. You can't say that because, again, it's on a nominal scale. It's impossible to say. Now, you could categorize them and say, well, which ones have higher quality? Which ones have higher critic scores? You can do that. But the genres themselves cannot be an argument or be used as a scale for what is or what is not, or what does or does not have moviness. All right, so in that case, we already kind of mentioned this. What kind of math can you do with these scores? So if you were using any of these scales, what's the kind of math that you can do? What's the kind of statistics you can do, analysis that you can do with these scores? And the answer is none. You can't do any math. Nominal scales do not allow you to do any math. So if somebody is using a nominal scale and they tell you that they calculated the average of all the scores, your first question should be, how the heck did you do that? Because you really can't add categories together. And your second question should be, well, it's not a question, your second statement should be, you're not allowed. That just does not or cannot be done. So that's important to know because as we're going to see as we go into higher scales, the temptation to do math is there, but it's false, it's not allowed, and we need to be able to think about it to make sure that we're not doing what's not allowed. All right.